The next topic is about FDA's latest digital health. Dr. Kazempour is the president and CEO at Emirates Clinical Research. He is also an ex-FDA reviewer working in the pharmaceutical industry and representing to the US clients seeking medical product approval. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Kazempour.
Good morning. I am very glad to be here to present the view of an ex-FDA with respect to the clinical products that we have, especially inside FDA, latest digital health development thinking. Let me find if I can make this one go ahead. Okay. I'm going to tell you the topics that I'm going to talk about today, starting by what is digital health from FDA point of view, and what is the main issues that we are going to talk about, and what is the benefit of it, which mostly we know. But the focus is which part of Food and Drug Administration reviews the digital health, and that is very essential from not just having it, but being able to using it for the indication or for the condition that we are thinking is going to be used for. And then another element is why FDA, Food and Drug Administration, is focusing on digital health. This is not new from an organization that has been around for more than 100 years. Every so many years, something new technology comes. I know 20-some years ago, probably you remember, genetics was an issue. And then about late 80s, HIV was an issue. We face issues, and then with the help of entrepreneur, we try to come up with a way of resolving it for the best. And at any time that a new technology comes, obviously, there are so many things around it, and then when we have to find a way to make it the best benefit of it. And then how is the FDA Advantage Digital Health? And then at the end, I give you the take-home message of it. Let me start by telling you something that you may know already. What is the digital health from FDA point of view? There are so many of them, and some of them I have here. This is from FDA guidelines, by the way, it's not from me. Personalized medicine is one. These days, if you go and look at any medication that you get, usually is ended with either 0, 10 milligram, 20 milligram, 30 milligram, or with 5, 25, 30. Why not 27 and a half? Because it's not personalized. And yes, we may get 81 milligram aspirin, and that is not due to indication, due to other reason. Health information technology, that's another element that we need to look at. The wearable devices that people use these days and get the information and being able to use that information. Then the question is, what is the benefit of the digital health? Obviously, we know so much about it. The main thing is reduce inefficiencies. As I said, with respect to approval, most of the medication that we have either end with 0 or 5 because we use average. No one is average, really. We use it to move ahead. And then improving the access, that's another element. Increase the quality. And these are another element that's why we need and the benefit of it. And another thing is make medicine more personalized for patient. This is one thing that is coming along more and more, and because now we have more data, not any data, we have reliable data and reproducible data. Anecdotal really is not gonna work from an FDA point of view. Reproducibility and reliability is the one that is the emphasis. And we do have more personalized data that we can use. On top of that is better manage the track health and wellness related activities. Okay, let's start from the basic. Which part of Food and Drug Administration that has thousands and thousands of and many buildings will moderate, will review the medical devices that we are going to have, the software, for example. It is CDRH, Center for Devices and Radiological Health. This CDRH, by the way, FDA has 3 centers: Center for Drug, which relates to chemical entities, Center for Biologics, and Center for Devices. And this center is the one that is responsible for review and approval of the medical devices that we're going to come up with. CDRH is the center that is using all this and facilitate the medical products. And we as an organization, we take a lot of medical devices to the agency. Software it's coming along, but it's Building 66. Those of you who have been in the agency, Building 66 is the building that CDRH belongs to and is there. Why is FDA focusing on digital health? The short answer is because they have to. The right answer is helping to address the public health crisis and enabling efficiencies and empowering. And just for your information, my previous speaker mentioned that in last few years, 2 years, 95% of data is generated. If you look, you can see that from 2016, 1.7 billion times. The increased number of time that download the thing has been just unbelievable. Just letting you know again, as I said, every many years we get a new issues, new sometimes very good problem, like when the Genome Project came along, and when we had HIV was a problem. We have something that we have to focus. The FDA commissioner just recently said that over the last 5 years, the FDA has made a great stride to adapt and evolve, and that is the nature of the agency, nature of any science, really, to make sure we continue to enabling advantage of beneficial innovations that are coming along and greater consumer access to technology that can improve their health. That is basically the safety and effectiveness of it. They came up with an action plan. Again, that is based on their guidelines. You can see that. That what they came up with, they basically, that's what they do. They issuing guidance to provide clarity and for the medical software for the 21st century, they call it 20th century cure legislation, they call it. And that is the way that we are different than the guidance that we came in place, I don't know, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. They are launching, this is the action plan, launching very innovative pre-certified organization. They are coming up, they are trying to find a way, not do it the same way that we did it in the drug and biologics. We may be able to do better way of doing. On top of that, the way that FDA is going, always that has been the case, building FDA bench strength and expert within the division, within the centers, to deal with digital health. And as I said, digital health innovation is very, very active. And as I said, that doing more hands-off rather than more hands-on. That is the plan at the moment. Hopefully it goes through. And the clinical decision support software, that is what's coming along, and we have to be able to use the multifunctionality of them. And software as a medical devices, that is something that I will talk a little bit more about it, and that's where the focus is. What are examples of software as medical devices? You know so many of them, you may even using them. Basically interface with other medical devices, not being part of it. If there is a software that is connected to a hardware medical device, but is not needed, it can be operated without it, but when you add this to it, it adds so many different parameters. It adds the quality, increase the speed, it acts personalizing it. That's the one that becomes a software that is usable, and we can apply that one. And then what is not, again, as I said, it is used to control the motor of or pumping of the medication. That's infusion pump. That is an integrated part of it. That is not. Or required by hardware. Or enables clinical or having the visits and things of that nature that not necessarily we can look at them as software as a medical device. The thing that I want to emphasize is regardless, device, software, or medications, it has to generate valid clinical association. If we are going to say a pill reduces blood pressure, it has to be reproducible. It has to show the valid variation. I do remember during HIV many years ago when we were evaluating, we did not, at the time, we could not even identify the virus. We could not. But we came up with a medication, AZT or Zidovudine, those of you who remember it. It improved the CD4 cell counts. By improving CD4 cell counts, although we did not know the virus, it increased the survival of subjects. So there is association. We have to establish the association. And then analytical validation. Does your device correctly and reproducibly process input data to generate accurate, reproducible, and reliable outcome? And then on top of that, the third thing from the agency's point of view is clinical validation. Does use of your software accurately, reproducibly, and reliably can improve the condition or the indication that we are the targeted condition that we are claiming on? These are the three components that we have to pay attention to. Again, they are coming up with the ways of doing it faster rather than going through the typical approach that FDA is, his huge submissions, huge way of doing it and delaying it. They are trying to come up with ways of not going the old ways that we have been going. Again, if you look at the guidelines, you see that they are trying to improve that one. And as I said, one thing that they do very, very good at is expanding the expertise within the agency by hiring people from outside. And that has been the case all over and has been always the case. People from the university and academia, people from industry, and people from the regulatory agency. Together they come and try to come up with something that is beneficial to everybody, and especially the community. And obviously, when we do this, there are pharmaceuticals or industries that benefit from it, and they should, because they invest a lot of money in it. Again, I quote another statement from the commissioner, said the FDA is adapting to digital health technology. And the aim is to make sure the safe and effective advances can be made available to patients more efficiently. Safety and efficacy are the main components. How one show that one, how can present it. Again, I used to say, I had a banner in the back of my office that I believe in God, everybody else should bring data. You have to bring data and show that really you have the safe and efficacious product that you have. Again, just recently, we had the approval. It was in just very last month, 2018. This is an app that used de novo pro-marketing review pathway. Again, this terminology, those of you who have gone to the agency, they understand that, especially in CDRH, the way that will be used to approve the product, it's called 510K. 510K is the one that has the very lower risk compared to other products that, for example, for heart and all that thing. This 510K, and then the 510K assumption is that you have a new device or new product that is somehow better than the existing one. The existing one, they call it a predicate, and you have to develop a process that you compare the new device with the existing one and show that the new device is non-inferior to the existing one. And this non-inferiority Oh, obviously, people may use is superior, but that one has some statistical language. If you are going to show something is superior, it has a lot more steps that you have to take. Those of you who have gone through that, it's 95% confidence interval and all that things that most of you are familiar with. But anyway, this being able to show that the new device is non-inferior, or new product that is going to go for approval is non-inferior to existing one. How do they do that? How would you do it? Again, there are so many ways to do it. There are guidelines, but I would recommend, actually that's one of the discussions that I talk to colleagues here when I come. I've been coming since 2003, 2004, and I see how much academia and industry, with respect to clinical and medical devices, is moving. And the way that we do it, obviously, we look at the guidelines, but we don't look at them as if they came from the sky. The first 5 letters of guidelines is guide. That doesn't mean they are law. And they may be applicable to your situation, may not be applicable to your situation. That's one element. The other element is the new product that you have may exist another one before you, may not exist another one before you. Okay, if the system is to show your new software, new product, the medical technology that you have is better than the existing one, but there was no existing one, how would you do that? There are ways to do it, and they use the word de novo. And that is this particular device that was, or app that was approved. It used that pathway. And that is one of the things that we talk to our colleagues when we come here, talk to industry, talk to venture capitals when they are going to move a product. The main thing is to make sure that we can generate unbiased data that can show the product is moving ahead. And the bottom line and take-home message is very, very simple. The benefit of digital health, we all know about it, and we knowingly or unknowingly we are using it, but when it comes to approval, has to go through the process. And there is logic for it, because not only should be anecdotal, it should be reproducible and should be easy to use and less mistakes out of it. Who is the reviewing and approving your product? That's the one that you need to look at the guidelines, but not looking at them as if they are unchangeable. You look at them. And another thing that it happens when people go to FDA, they go and present the thing over there and say, can you help us? The answer is no. They will not know as much as you know about your product. What you need to do, you need to be able to present your product with the data. And obviously that is not enough. What do you go over there after presenting? Then you need to develop a methodology that you go and test it and generate new data. That the new data has to be based on some agreement between you and the review division, as we call it. And the latest FDA action plan, we talked about it. There are very, very much activity in that area. They are pushing it. And I mentioned that the commissioner is constantly talking about it and trying to make sure that they are not staying behind of the technology that is going. And as I say, that find which regulatory pathway, again, depends on the product that you have, depends on the risk of that product, depends on the benefit of that product. There are multiple pathways for it. And you are the only one who will know which pathway, but you need to go over there and present why, and then get some approval from them in advance. And then the typical approach is, unfortunately, that they look at the guidelines and they say, you know what? Another company did it that way, therefore we should follow that one. Maybe, may not be. Depends. Depends on the characteristics of the product that you have, the software that you have, the device that you have. And again, you are the only one who knows it. And by looking at the pathways that are there, be able to document it, be able to present it, be able to discuss it, and choose the one that is most applicable to your product, your pathway. Because the guidelines, as I say, they are guidelines, and you are the one who can look at them and see if they are applicable to the product that you have. And thank you very much for your time. I'll be very happy to answer any questions.